Mary of Nazareth, a living example for contemporary women. Mary, a living example. Mary, the new Eve, cared for, nurtured, and educated the new Adam up to the stature of a mature Son of God capable of performing his Father's mission of redemption of humankind. She and her husband Joseph loved God, were humble, and followed his will always, and loved each other with a pure and never-ending love, and were two poor and honest workers who did not mind about riches, power, or any attachments of this world. They lived entirely for his Son Jesus Christ. That was their mission and their present for the world. The Son of God that lived, worked, and prayed with them until maturity. Did Mary and Joseph live in an easier world to live than ours? Less violent? With fewer rules? Not dominated by man, economic power, and corrupt politicians? Free of Satan? If the answer is no, then Mary of Nazareth, the mother of Jesus, is still a living and valuable example for women worldwide. Mary in the life of Jesus. Many Protestants minimize Mary's role within Christianity, basing their arguments on the relative brevity of biblical references about her. Hillerbrand, 2003, page 1174. Mary is not considered of any importance other than being the natural mother of Jesus in many so-called Christian denominations, some holding her to have lesser status, which only reproduces the rigid patriarchal social system that has endured up to these days and dominated humanity with views of women in this world. Nevertheless, with or without their permission, Mary has been venerated since early Christianity and is considered by millions to be the most meritorious saint of the religion. However, let us remember that Satan does not like Mary, nor any woman for that matter, because God put enmity between Eve and him, and because Eve's seed, Mary and Jesus, have crushed the head of the serpent. Genesis 3:15, Revised Standard Version, Catholic Edition. The sexes as a manifestation of our genderless Creator in this world. God is spirit and has no form, and since God has no body, it has no sex. So, we can't say for certain that God as a being is a male or a female. God is above these conceptualizations because he is beyond our comprehension, and since it contains everything, it contains both polarities as well on itself. Men and women were created to complement each other, and at the highest manifestation of their selfless love, they help to carry on with the plan of God in this level of existence, as it was beautifully manifested in Nazareth by Joseph and Mary. Through them, the Spirit materializes on earth and the matter gets redeemed and spiritualized when reason and a loving heart work in unison and balance. St. John Paul II, a former Pope of the Catholic Church, affirmed that God's saving plan, which is revealed in creation, attributes equal dignity and worth to women and men, but it also affirms the uniqueness of the gift of femininity. The model represented by Mary dearly shows what is specific to the feminine personality. Mary's path. Mary has a lot in common with the vast majority of people today, especially poor women. According to Yvonne Guevara in 1999, Mary's strength came from prayer because despite her daily activities, she always found a moment for prayer. Nevertheless, even though Mary was silent and humble and seldom appears in the scriptures, her appearances are very important and definitory, if we can use this term, in the life and mission of Jesus, her divine Son. For instance, even when Jesus was already a mature and fully developed Son of God, it was Mary, his mother, who rarely appears speaking in the four Gospels, the one who gave the starting signal for her Son ministry on this earth. During the marriage at Cana in Galilee, with her words, "There is no wine." Another important event when we find in Mary of Nazareth an incredible strength and courage that only constant prayer and an unbreakable faith in God will give you, was when she stood at the feet of her dear Son Jesus during his crucifixion and death in the Calvary. Her faith was also evident when, even after the death of her Son, she was the cohesive force that maintained the apostles reunited in Jerusalem. And after Jesus' resurrection, she was, to my understanding, the mediator and strong presence they needed to receive the gift of her divine Son, the Holy Spirit. Mary's strength as a woman. Mary assumed her responsibility as a woman, mother and wife, accepting the initial rejection of Joseph about her divine pregnancy and the potential rejection and even stoning to death by the Jewish people due to her unexplained condition. And after this first crisis was resolved, in due time she traveled with her husband Joseph in an advanced state of pregnancy, the 130 kilometers that separated Nazareth from Bethlehem, in a week journey, probably in a donkey. She also endured the birth of her son in a stable, and we don't know if assisted only by Joseph or with the help of a midwife. A short time after they returned to Nazareth, Mary had to flee in a hurry to live in a foreign country such as Egypt with his husband Joseph to avoid the butchers of Herod that wanted to kill her son. And Satan was behind them, as we see in Revelation 12:4. And the dragon stood before the woman who was about to bear a child, that he might devour her child when she brought it forth, and only to return with Joseph again after approximately 2 years to their homeland. Mary's positive qualities as a woman of all times. Mary of Nazareth followed her call from God, and she was not a nun confined in a monastery. She was a woman, a mother, and a wife, and provided the baby Jesus with her never-ending guidance and protection. Mary was a mediator and a strong presence as the first disciple of her son Jesus, and acted as a cohesive force that maintained the emerging church alive after Jesus was crucified. She was filled by God with the Holy Spirit, and her life was a living example of the grace and light of God to her adopted family of apostles and the ever-growing community of disciples and followers of Christ, among them many other women. No one can minimize your role as a woman. It won't matter if Satan is always trying to do it through his obscure sons in this world. If you live to obey the will of God in your life, if you do, then you will surely see, forming little by little in your own face, the beautiful features of Mary of Nazareth.